Alright, here we are, Canadian junkyard. Okay, pro tip here. Hey everybody, welcome back to your favorite YouTube show, Fixing Random Crap with Craig. Today we are going to deal with this issue of a leaky faucet. I have turned the water off, I should say a leaky shower head. We're just getting some drips up there, and when the shower was totally turned off, pretty confident that it is the cartridge inside this valve here, this Delta valve. Reminder is that a lot of these comes with lifetime warranties. If you reach out to the company, they will just send you the new cartridge. So this is an RP 46463, and we'll take you along for the ride as we replace this. A lot of these faucets come with a set screw. This model does not have it. It has the independent temperature control on the side, or on the front here. Pretty sure that just pops off with a flathead screwdriver. We're gonna go very gently and use like a rag to make sure we don't damage any of this trim here. This is a pretty new faucet. Well, it's about 10 years old, I guess. But yeah, we're gonna get that top piece off, and then we'll figure out how to get this thing apart. Okay, quick pro tip here. Took my flathead screwdriver and just wrapped a little bit of painter's tape on it to make sure I didn't mess up any of the finish on this nice chrome piece, and honestly, it was just a slight twist, popped right off. Now we have this Phillips. Okay, we're starting to take that off with our Phillips, but I will point out that this thing is set here in a way to measure how much hot water, like how hot the water can get. It's kind of a safety thing for kids, whatever, make sure nobody scalds themselves. So I would take a note of where this thing is set to. It's kind of straight across here, so that when we put it back on, we put it back on the same. So there's that piece. It's actually two pieces as it comes out. So there's like a piece underneath, and I just kind of remembered like just keeping track of where that was sort of pointing. So when we put it in, we'll do it the same way. Next, we're gonna get this piece here off. This part just wiggled off, no problem, no special tools required. Next, we're gonna get this sleeve off of here, which also probably just pulls right out. Yeah, there's that. Okay. Now we're here, so we wanna unscrew this valve, this nut here, and this is probably gonna need a wrench, need a channel lock to get that unscrewed. We're gonna wanna use a rag around that too, not to damage anything, although it is covered by the by this piece here. I'm gonna clean that up before we put it back together. But we'll go find our channel. Okay, this thing's on there pretty tight. This is not working well. You'll see there's some like calcium buildup and stuff, and this is gonna be typical. Especially if you're on like well water, you're gonna have a lot more of this stuff. In fact, it probably would have been harder to get some of the initial pieces off. I'm gonna look at spraying some WD-40 or some penetrating oil in there to loosen that up a bit. I don't have any where I am, but I'm also gonna try a bigger wrench. So let's see how that goes. Some might say this is overkill, but this worked right away. So. Not everybody has one of these lying down around, but when your grandfather was a pipe fitter and you inherited his tools, comes in super handy every once in a while. Okay, loosened that up a fair bit to the point where actually the cartridge is even spinning now as I'm taking it out, so that's good because I think it's good at least. It means that the cartridge isn't seized in there. But a little bit of water, the water is off, but you know, obviously there's still a little bit of pressure in there, so let's just let that drain out. And then we'll open it the rest of the way. This is behind the shower, so luckily the way this shower was put in, we have access to the back, and we put in some shutoffs at the back here for times exactly like this. I actually didn't have the water shut off. I had it, these two were still open. The hot and the cold were coming down into the valve. I had this shut off, which was the one going to the shower head, in order to stop the dripping that was coming through. But anyway, I've turned these both off now, and then so the water should have stopped dripping. Okay, so it has stopped dripping. We can now just undo this by hand. Cartridge comes right out nicely. This here, what we believe to be our culprit now. I feel like that's part of it back there, but we'll take out the new piece and see what it looks like. We'll compare it to this guy. We'll remember that it came out this way. We'll just make sure that we, with the word type P up. Oh, but actually it twisted on the way out, so, because it needs to use these grooves, so the hot's always going to be to the left. Anyway, we'll figure that out when ready to put the new one in. Okay, old one here, new one here. We'll see that it says hot side there, right there, hot side. So that's how we know which side is going to go to the left. This one does look the same, but it also came with this piece here, which I think is what I'm seeing in here still. It's like we need to get that guy out because I want to replace this whole thing. Okay, we got the old needle nosers here, and we'll try to, oh, there comes that part. Okay, and then we'll see if we can, just put those down on the ground for now. Let's see if we can grab the middle of this part here. I want to be careful there, I don't know if that's, be very careful. Okay, I grabbed it like that, give it a little wiggle side to side. That ripped the whole thing out, so we're back to just the brass in there, which is what we... just a few quick notes here on why, always hard to tell why these might have leaked. Sometimes the O-rings go bad. One thing with this shower is that it isn't used a ton, and this place has been vacant for a little bit, so I feel like some of these probably just dried out a bit. It's kind of hard on the front. And anyway, it's hard to say exactly where it might have failed, but anyway, we're going to replace it back in. So I'm going to first put this piece in, this new piece to replace the one that I took out here. And then these pieces are going to go right up against the metal plate here. And we should be back in business. Okay, so we got the new one in there. Now we're going to go and just slide this guy in hot side to the left. And you see there's these little nubs here that you want to line up with these nubs here. And we'll just pop that right in there. That is hot side left. There, just kind of push that in a bit. And then we're going to just put this on and tighten it up. And this thing just needs to be like hand tight. That's good. That'll seize itself on there, I'm sure, very nicely for the next time we want to take it off. And then, cool, we'll put the rest of these pieces on here. This sleeve, I'm going to clean that up a bit. Anyway, I'll put it all back together the way it was, and we'll show you if it doesn't leak. Okay, water's turned back on. We got no leaks. That's pretty cool. Let's turn this. I haven't put this knob back on yet, but I'll tell you why in a second. Turn that on. Water comes through, tickety-boo. And the main thing I want to do now is just test to make sure it's not getting too hot. I don't know if I'm going to have to make any more adjustments here on this, how hot the thing can get. But I'm going to let it, I'm actually going to just put this back on now for a second. Just kind of slide that around till you find the spot where it goes, feels like it goes on. I feel like I might need 2 hands for this. Yeah. Okay, so you see there's like kind of this square bit down here. That is where this part goes. And then this is like a little cap that clips into this part up here. So the way that it works is I was pointing down, and that's not right. It needs to be pointing up. So I need to move that thing. I need to take that off and put it back on again. Okay, that's set up right now where like it's in the on position and this is pointing up. So this would be mid-temperature. That would be coldest. It's very cold right now, yeah. So in order for this, when you're installing it, because you're tightening everything, you're turning it that way, it's actually in this position. So you want that square piece and this thing pointing down. That's the reminder for when you go to put it back together. But otherwise, we are back in business. It feels like we've got good heat coming out. When I put this, it takes a second to warm up, but we're going to call that another fix. So big shout out to Delta for standing behind their products and sending us a cartridge. Love it. Good for another 10 years, hopefully, maybe longer. Okay, so this guy here is the key to getting this thing set. So you see the H up here and the C on the other side. And you'll see there's also this tab here. I think this is how this works. So when I put this in, if I'm closer to the cold side, if I set it kind of like that, closer to the cold, that's kind of in the middle, then my temperature's not gonna be super hot. But if I move it a little more this way, because the water's not hot enough, so I'm just gonna send it not all the way. We don't want it crazy hot, but I'm gonna put it there, and then I'm gonna put it back. Okay, we're back. Working great. Getting enough heat now for sure. It's not at the max. It could go hotter if we want to put it hotter, but enough to at least get some steam going here and fog up the glass. So it tells you we got some heat. And yeah, it's just important to make sure you know where that little black piece is pointing. Closer to the hot, you'll be allowed to get more hot water. You'll be able to turn this further and get more hot water through the valve. And otherwise, if you want to dial it back, closer to the cold. All right, we'll catch you next time on Fixing Random Crap with Craig.